Welcome back to another episode of Unranked Podcast. What we're going to jump into today, NBA draft is about a week out, literally like down to the hour. I'm at this point. Um, so we're going to just touch on a couple different players that we would like for the Pistons to draft in the first round. Um, Also, sure people have already heard Monty Williams out as a Pistons head coach. We'll definitely jump into that. Just kind of talk about ramifications around that, how that went down. Chat around a couple of different people that we think might be a fit to replace him. But yeah, that being said, we'll actually start with Monty Williams and get to the draftees after the fact. But yeah, I'll kick it over to you, E. Just wanted to see your thoughts on Monty Williams getting fired today.
Yeah, I guess the first thing I would say is, or one of the first things I'm going to say is, it's just crazy how things change. Like I'm sure you could pull up a podcast of us roughly a year ago, probably not about 50 weeks ago, praising us higher, saying how we needed some stability around here. Former coach of the year,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where I, I do think he is a good coach. I do. I just don't know if it was the right situation, right
Mhm.
players, coming off his like family situation he was dealing with and potentially just forcing him off the couch. I think all of that kind of plays into a factor of his motivation level and whether he was hungry for it. And then when the wheels kind of fell off very early in the season, I don't think I think that's when it really set in that he wasn't willing to put in the work to get us out of that hole, or potentially
Right.
was the reason why we were in that hole in the first place. Um, and it's just very unfortunate how it kind of all played out. Very unfortunate that it just kind of ended horribly. Now, for him on his end, $65 million from us, another 30 million from the Suns. He's making $95 million to stay at home, and he probably will get another coaching job before both of those contracts expire. So he's going to be doing well for a while. So I overall, it is what it is. It's a business league as well, and I do think it was,
Mhm.
if we're going to really turn this around, you had to clean house, and that's one thing Trajan Langdon seems to be doing is cleaning house, bringing in his guys. If nothing else, he's putting his thumbprint on this. We'll see. Hopefully he's making some of the. I think these are some of the right moves, but hopefully he'll put the right people in place that he's. Uh, when he's forcing some people out, hopefully he's getting good guys in that
Yeah.
can make a difference. But I think overall, just kind of was an unfortunate situation. And I wish it would have worked out. I would love to have him as our coach as we kind of turn this around and got things fired up, make the playoffs again, bounce back, try to work our way up the playoff ladder. I would have loved for that to happen under him, but some things just don't work out. So I think, but you had to clean house. So
No,
it,
for
a
sure.
necessary evil. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'm right there with you. I think just before you hopped on here, just kind of joking around about how like, watching his press conference and just kind of fast forward into like halfway through the season last year, and it was just like, man, like, he talked a lot about, just a generous, contract. I think they, also kind of threw in some other incentives like a private jet just to kind of help like, from like a travel standpoint. So like he's already kind of like, I don't know, just be like comfortable. And I guess we were just so excited about seeing a new face, at the helm after, what Dwayne Casey had kind of been doing, those like previous years that we were kind of blinded, I feel like, by
Yes.
that contract because he went to an NBA finals, but I don't know, you don't touch on like coaches' contracts a ton. But like I feel like after he got his, like you just saw like Popovich get, a new a new contract for like 15 million. You saw Steve Kerr get like a 2 year, like $17 million contract. And as the season was going on, I'm like, yeah, he definitely like overpaid. That's not something, always like that like comes to mind from like a coaching standpoint. But I mean, I echo what you say. Like it was just tough because like, you it just feel like he, yeah, just kind of like gave up. And it was just tough watching like him just allow like a 27 game losing streak essentially to happen by being so stubborn about whatever Jaden Ivey might have been, not doing from a defensive standpoint. That, I mean, he literally started somebody over him that as soon as he was traded, right, he got waived, or I think it was just waived him. I
I
don't
think
even
we
think
waived. We could not trade him. We waived. Yeah.
right, yeah. So yeah, we tried to he asked for a trade and they just laughed at him and then they just ended up waiving him. And nobody, you didn't even hear him. There might have been a little bit of like he might go to the Spurs with Wemby, just like the French connection, but like last I saw, he was over in France somewhere on the Olympic team, coming up this summer. So
Yeah.
it that was just tough. Like,
And he's 22 or 20. Like it's crazy.
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like all
Yep,
the
yeah,
upside in the world still. Yeah.
right. So it's just like that's just how like damning the evidence was. And to even hear too, with Ivy, it was like they almost had to have like a team meeting and tell him like, yeah, Ivy played point guard in college, or he played off the ball and like kind of had to explain to him like why he could play beside Cade. And then, I get it, the team wasn't great. They had some injuries here and there. They basically changed the entire team at the trade deadline, but I think they changed it like in his favor, to where there was like some more flashes, but I don't know. You just kind of saw that he was very disengaged and, a lot of like even like Cade getting foul call, like not getting foul calls, like didn't go to the free throw
Yeah.
line for like 3 or 4 games straight and they're losing. And he's not really even mentioning it until, one of our players gets like their legs taken out in the Knicks game and they don't call a foul then. So like he wasn't showing up when he should have been, and then he showed up when it was almost too late, essentially.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. It's just it's tough. And I, I I think that was his first grave mistake, is just riding out that Killian Hayes bandwagon too long. Like it made no sense. Um, it just messed up the spacing on offense. And he is a good defender, but I don't
Mhm.
know if he's as good of a defender for his inadequacy on offense when we have a very valuable asset more or less just sitting there. If
Yeah,
you anybody on the team that could be a future all-star outside of Cade is Ivy. that's the other crown jewel you have on the team. And for him just to kind of put him on the back burner, um, the the way the team responded to that losing streak let me know that there just maybe not wasn't enough leadership. I don't even want to say it, but it is what it is. Maybe not enough leadership or enough direction from the coaching. Just everybody seemed disconnected. Like it
yeah,
didn't, like we seemed like just some run of the mill mid major college basketball team that just, like not one of the best franchises in NBA history, multiple championships, Hall
right.
of Fame players in the rafters. We,
Then the
it just,
Bobcat.
yeah, yeah, right. Like you just know, like this is just what happens here. No, this is not what happens here. And I think that's one thing I will say. And I know we and you both talked about, I don't know whether it's on camera or not, but whether or not Tom Gores, and we know we both hate him, and if there was a way for Langdon to try to get rid of him, but
Man,
we know that we believe that he is one of the type of guys that he's looking to milk the team, allegedly. That's kind of what I think. He's in, but for the fact that him to have to swallow that 65 million, that does let me know that maybe he's ready to turn the page a little bit.
yeah,
That I don't want to give him credit for it, but I did is something I thought he would not do, and that's and he could have been held strong on it. Um, I also think we kind of were texting about this earlier, but it's the idea that he still made the decision ultimately. Lets me know that his hand might be in the pot too much. He's still looking to have influence. If you're going to hire a basketball savant that is looking to turn this around, then let him turn it around. Don't
right,
kind of be a micromanaging behind his shoulder. You're not a Mark Cuban or somebody like that, the owner that maybe knows what he's doing to a certain degree.
right.
Like I can't think of another basketball owner, but let's say like a Jerry
My man's
Jones
the
type or whatever.
Clippers.
Like yeah, one of those where you're he's kind of like a GM to a certain degree. I've seen videos of Mark Cuban saying that he just called the owner of the the Hawks to get that trade done with Trae Young and Luka Doncic, things like that. That where you're steam heading that. I don't think Tom Gores is that guy. I think he's some stock market hedge fund numbers nerd, and it just made sense for him to buy a team for whatever reason. And I'm hoping that he can step out of the way and let the basketball minds do the basketball, and he can collect the paychecks off the success of winning games. Because me and you both know that if they start turning around and winning games, we'd be in that stadium. We'd be buying jerseys. I'd be dragging my 1-year-old down there to go to games. It's one of those things where it's, but and I'm kind of ranting at this point, but I think it's one of those things where it was desperately needed, and I'm hoping this could turn the page. I'm just eager to have a good, solid team around here, somebody we can root for and be proud of. It's hard being the laughing stock of the league.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I'm just looking. This is correct for what it's worth. We've had he bought the team in 2011. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll be hiring the seventh. This next coach will be the seventh
Yeah.
since
So we're getting a new coach basically every
every
two
other year.
seasons.
However you want to look at the first, like John Huster, I don't even know who that is, to be completely honest with you, but he went 57 and 107. Then we got Lawrence Frank, and he went 54 and 94. Mo Cheeks, 21 and 29. And then a guy named John Lawyer ended up finishing up that season, went 8 and 24. Van Gundy's probably the most successful in that span. He was 152, 176. I think he went to the playoffs twice. Or no, he went to the playoffs once, got swept by the Cavs. Dwayne Casey, 5 years, 121 and 263, one playoff appearance. And then Monty Williams, 14 and 68 with a .171 percentage. Winning percentage.
That's and
Yes.
maybe this, I don't know if this was you or if this was my brother, but somebody talked about the difference of the old owner versus the new owner. So the old owner owned the team for like 42 years and had 6 losing seasons. And he's held the team for 14 years and has had 8 or 9 losing seasons or something. So it's kind of like he's already surpassed what he would have to own a team for another 40 years and practically never have another losing season again.
He set the standard in the opposite direction. Like he set the standard, like the standard was like we don't lose around here. Now he's setting the standard as like we've already passed the amount of losing seasons the last owner had, and you've only had this team for 12 years. So
Yes.
yeah, it's wild. I guess just kind of we can talk about this a little bit. Like, who do you think? I mean, is there any names? Like, I wish we would have got rid of them like halfway through the season, so we could have had a little bit more to pick. There are like 2, 3 guys out there that I'd be cool with, but yeah, I just want to see your thoughts on who you think
Yeah.
should go.
So I know we were texting about one, and I also agree with it, but I know we're going to mutually agree on, but Sam Cassell.
Yeah,
I know Sam Cassell's been working his way, obviously a good to great player during his playing days. Worked his way up the bench or from the player to a bench, working his way up the seats on various coaching staffs. A guy that I think if nothing else, that defensive minded can and has been around the league. It's not some guy that we're trying to pluck from the college or some guy that no offense, but like a JJ Redick type or whatever. It's just a complete experiment. So I know we probably mutually agree with that. That's one guy top of the list. The other guy I heard would be potentially a little bit more of an experiment, but he obviously has head coaching experience. Very familiar with our team. I've been hearing Chauncey Billups float around a little bit, and I
oh
would not
man,
be mad. Yeah, I would be cool with that. Chauncey Billups been watching him since I've been watching basketball practice. So I
Chelsea
would not be.
what? Chelsea what?
But no, man,
Oh man,
they got. Hey, that's how you
oh,
got to get announced as a coach when you walk in. Like
right.
head coach. Bring
Definitely
the
not being
fire
a
back from the
player.
rafters and shit. Yeah, but no.
Yeah,
So those are the 2 guys that right off rip I would not be mad at. Ex players, been around either head coach before or around coaching staffs and on the bench for years.
yeah.
Both him and Sam Cassell. So those are 2 guys that I'm not saying necessarily top of my list, but near the top of the list. I would have to do a little more research.
You probably like trade for Chauncey or something like that, or he'd have to like, like the Trailblazers had just like
Yeah,
fired him,
yeah.
kind of
No,
like let him go.
that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't think of the full ramifications of that, but I've heard, I've seen a bunch of people checks online, NBA, whatever, mention him randomly today. So at least it's some rumblings of it. So
for sure. Yeah, I mean that, it might be something like it's hard telling nowadays. It's like on Twitter, it's just a big mass of like there's a whole bunch of just different sources and opinions, and we'll see which ones is really true. Once the dust settles, but that would be a slam dunk. I mean that I was thinking um Sam Cassell, obviously. I mean, for a lot of things you said, but like, they brought him to Boston is essentially like, all right, like you're going to be like the lead assistant, and then if this guy shits the bed again, then Sam Cassell sounded like he might have been able to slide into there as a head coach. He's been, in waiting for a little bit, and the other guy I was thinking was his name is James Borrego,
mhm.
um, like I guess like neck and neck with somebody, this guy named Kenny Atkinson for that Cleveland job. And some of my just kind of reading stuff on Twitter, and one of my buddies just like mentioned how Borrego coached the Hornets the last time that like when like LaMelo's second year, and when they had like made it to like a playing game,
Yeah,
and that was like one of the best years that LaMelo has had, and it really hasn't. They just said it really hasn't been the same since. That coach is not there anymore, so I kind of look at Cade and LaMelo, kind of that's 6'6" point guards that can do everything at a high level. I feel like if he can, I feel like that might be a good fit just based off of like Cade obviously being better than LaMelo. That might be able to help him get to that second gear, like that
right.
all type, or like all-star type player. So yeah, I think those
No,
two would be
I've been hearing him, and that would be the
Pelicans.
plucking another person from New Orleans, kind of that
Yeah,
whole
because
familiarity.
they've
Yeah,
been churning. Like New Orleans has been, Zion's kind of been the reason they've been kind of all over the place. Like I think they honestly would have beat OKC if he wasn't hurt this year, but they got like a nice like operation going on over there. So I'm like, man, the more the merrier. I mean, even that shooting coach, we didn't really talk about him, but like he's had a lot of them guys was shooting like in the 20s, when they started in the league, and made like 15, 16% jumps from three, and just like field goal percentage overall. So
yeah.
I
I
I wouldn't
think
be opposed. The more the merrier from them.
no, I agree, and I think he'd be a good candidate. Probably who's what's going to happen. Looks like we're
Yeah.
just completely ramsacking whatever we want from New Orleans, and I'm hoping we can go get Brandon Ingram with that. I'm hoping just bring over the unit. Whatever New Orleans has had for the last 5 years, I would take their record for the next handful of years. So it's one of
Yeah.
those
With the playoffs.
hovering around 40 to 47 wins and something I could be mad about. I'd rather be mad about getting bounced in the second round than I would be of not, only having 2 wins heading into New Year's.
Right. Because
So
at least then,
uh,
according to how the mock drafts or the lottery goes, the more wins, the higher the odds are of getting the
very true. Yeah, that's true. They're looking for, they want some team with momentum.
right.
um,
Yeah.
but no, and just another guy, I kind of, I'm just throwing it out here. Uh, Ex-player, assistant coach for 15 years, got his first head coaching job this year and got fired. Adrian Griffin.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know what he could have did. Like
yeah, I
every
agree.
that. Like I
So
don't know
that's a
what.
guy,
Yeah.
obviously, ex-player, played, about 500 NBA games.
Yeah.
Was a head or assistant coach everywhere from Milwaukee to Chicago, OKC, Toronto, and then he became a head coach. He's 50 years old. I mean, I think somebody like that, they've obviously been through the fire, been through the ringer, got let go for no apparent reason. I think maybe somebody like him could come and just try to get a good young team and make it his own versus getting an old team with championship aspirations. And you
That's
getting
like
fired. This is crazy. He literally had a 70% win percentage.
I was so confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
So somebody like that, I think, would be, he will be a head coach and bounce back around again. So those are the type of people I'll be looking at. No experiment, somebody who is a pretty proven commodity that's available now.
see, that's Giannis called the shots over there. He got, this is way off track, off topic, but he got Holiday traded. He got a ring this year. Coach fired.
Backfire.
At the end of the day, he got stuck with Doc Rivers, and they was sitting at home after the first round.
I don't think they'd be a championship banner this year, but obviously him going down, fuck them.
Definitely, yeah,
Yeah,
like nail in the coffin for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But
That
no,
kind
I
of turned
think
out
I think we're in the pitch once again. The pitches are an interesting spot. And I want them to turn this shit around, man. Like it's
for sure.
and I think what it looks like we're ready to do that. We're making big moves, firing people, damn near being disrespectful about it. Hey, you can go be a scout for us. You can, I mean, like,
Remotely.
work from home. You just watch some games
That's
when you
telling
can. Go
though.
home and watch
That
some
tells
games.
you how
Yeah,
bad of a job he did, and we've been getting
yeah,
hurt this whole time. Because like we thought he drafted some above average players. Cade was a no brainer, obviously, but like they saw that and were like, yeah, I mean, we don't even want you in the office. Like you can just do your thing from wherever you're at. So like that in itself, I was just like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all you like. That's very like telling of how they
it
felt
is.
about him as a
It is.
contributor
So
going
you
forward.
got him out of there. You got the coach out. Um, the guy's coming in with the guillotine. He's chopping heads, and hopefully this makes a difference on as far as these wins go. Because I'm telling you, we have a roster that can be competitive in this league. I do think it's got to. Well, I say that, and we do need to overhaul the roster. Well, we
Right.
have
Like
pieces. We have
we got pieces
pieces.
and money.
Money, exactly. What more do you need in the league? Well,
Yeah.
and so I know free agents. There's some rumors, rumblings of us going after people, us trading for like a Brandon Ingram. I think well, maybe he'd be a free agent, but Nick Claxton free agent, Brandon Ingram type. You hearing those rumors? Um, I've heard was it Kuzma or somebody else kind of random? It was somebody like just like
Like
players
Gary
that
Harris,
yeah,
just kind of
Gary,
like
yeah,
random rotational players. Yeah.
yeah, yep.
Lee
And
Monk.
with that and that fifth pick coming up here, I think we can put together some packages and whatnot. But let's say let's say it all didn't work out. We keep the pick. We roll into the draft a week from today. Kind of who's at the top of your board, who are you eyeing? And let's go out to say this is obviously one of the more abysmal drafts in quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I got two guys that will kind of come to mind for me personally. First guy, Donovan Clingan, talked about him a couple different times on here already. 7'2", 280. Um, watched quite a bit of UConn basketball last couple of years, and I mean it
Mm-hmm.
was a night and day difference for him just on the court opposed to off the court. And I think like I like Duran, but like he's also kind of like a dinosaur. Like he's just kind of like a younger version of Andre Drummond, to where he's a stat sheet stuffer, but he's not really a rim protector, not that great on defense. Um, but he can get you 14 and 12 with his, in his sleep. But I think a guy like Klingon, he uh lob threat during his too, but like he's lob threat. He's got, I'd say a little bit more diversity to his game. He can shoot the three ball a little bit. Um, and he's like rim protection. I think that's something we just need, to where got a lot of guys getting to the basket with little to no resistance. So we don't. That's just something we've been missing for quite a while. I think it's giving somebody like Cade, somebody like that's as athletic as this player is, pick and roll, lob threat. He can catch it at the top of the free throw line and maybe make a couple plays from that standpoint. Like I look at him as kind of like a Derek Lively. I think that's kind of what Klingon could be, like Derek Lively for the Mavs. Maybe like not as athletic, but he can definitely move.
I like that. I like that comparison. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be good.
And
Um,
then, all right, go
I
ahead.
like that. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I like that
I
comparison. I was in not regular season, but obviously throughout the tournament, I watched him, and he can move on his feet. He's light on his feet. He can move. I think definitely the type of player you need in today's league. You know, assuming a lot of that transitions into
For
the
sure. Right. That's yeah. So, all that like sounds great. Like it looked great in college, a couple years in college, good experience. And he was just on a team full of winners. So like, they just won. I think they lost, he probably lost like 10 games his entire college career. So always nice to have that. And then the other guy, Dalton Connect. I mean, I think for me, like I'm just looking at guys that are like complete. We were joking about it. We got on here. You go to this top 10, don't really know a lot of these guys. It's not like we're not really tapped in. Like I literally don't know some of these people because all you've heard is how like not great a draft this can be. But I
yeah.
think Dalton Connect, he's another like my little comps, but Gordon Hayward. When he, his first like 4 or 5, 6 years in the league before he got traded to Boston and, broke his ankle and that kind of like derailed the rest of his career. I mean, he was, 20 and 20 and 6, like 22, 5 and 4. Like he had some really nice stats to where I think he might have went to an All-Star game or two, but all in all, I think that's like if we can if Dalton Connect come in, watch him go toe to toe with big fella Edie in the Elite Eight. I
Yep.
think he scored like 35. Edie had like 40 something. He's had a couple of double doubles. Watched him a little bit here and there as the season went on into the tournament. I just feel like that's a guy that can come in. He can hit the open three, get his own shot. I just don't think we have really room for a lot of these projects anymore going forward. But yeah, my 2 cents on who I'd like us to get.
No, so actually I tend to agree with you on the projects, the gambles, players. Like I think now, I would, like I said, like we joked about last time, I would be heartbroken if we went with, Dalton Connect and then Matt, what's his name, Mattis or whatever, went like
Oh, Matas Zubelis,
it went
yeah,
like 2 picks after us, and in a couple years, my man averaging 20 and 10. I'm gonna be crushed,
yeah,
and we got the dude putting up 8 and 6. But
that is
at the end of the
crazy.
day, I do think it's better to have more of a sure thing right around now compared to the upside of what could be.
Mhm.
I think that's it's tend to get us in trouble. Killian Hayes was an upside of what could be. The pick after him was Tyrese Halliburton, a guy who I watched at. Don't ask me why. I always happen to watch Iowa State. They got a lot of Flintstones on
They
the team
solid,
around there,
solid
so
program too.
I always end up watching them. Seen him a lot, dude. I probably can find post more tweets. I was like, we got to take this guy,
Hmm.
and obviously that didn't work out. You throw him on this team. I mean, we looking way different. So I tend to agree with you. But just for the sake of doing the opposite, I will go to 2 guys that if you want to roll the dice, some young guys, some unproven guys, some guys it's hard to find some tape on,
Hmm.
like a rumor basically. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Ron Holland, played in the G League. I'm blanking on the actual team. Let me see if I can find it here. But
it
yeah,
was G
played
League
in the
Ignite.
G League. At per game, real stats, not per 36, not per 40. He averaged 18, 7, and 3. Um, can't shoot the three that well, but shot pretty high from the field overall, 53%, 24% from three. Obviously, you're looking for something better than that. But the thing that also stood out to me is his like under 18 stats for playing in I'm trying to pull him back up here. But his under 18 stats for playing in the Olympics were pretty solid. Uh, so that lets me know he's playing against other guys who were up, future NBA players, future Euro stars, and kind of did his thing in that. He's not like some splash in the pan. So I think he's a guy that will be something in the league. It's just a matter of when, whether it pays out a year from now or 3 years from now. I think he'll be a solid player though. And if you were going to roll the dice on a G League player, that's kind of who I would lean towards. And then secondary, I'm getting this a lot off Twitter where people are bombarding me with it. I've actually watched a few of his reels on YouTube. And that's Cody Williams, the Colorado like small forward. He looks solid. I'm not gonna lie, he looks very impressive. Some of the stats are a little misleading when you dive into him, but he averaged 12 and 3. Would you want a guy to average a little more rebounds? Yeah, but then you look at the fact that he's 6'7", 190. So he, no assists, no rebounds, can put the ball in the rim a little bit. 42% from three. But when you look into the numbers, he only hit like 11 of like 24 or something. So he wasn't really shooting that many. But when he was shooting them, he was hitting them.
Yeah.
So,
That's
you know,
sorry.
yeah. I mean,
Sorry, inside the backboard a couple times wide open.
compared to Asar, I like him. That's our boy.
Yeah.
Asar shot like 14 of 110 or something from three. So once again, I understand you got to take the three because sometimes it's just the right play. If they're going to leave me out here this open, I got to shoot it. But I think this lets me know a look back. Probably if you get him in the gym with some real work ethic and he's shooting 42% already, he maintains somewhere in the somewhere in the healthy 30%. Compared to Asar, who's literally sub-teens from three.
Yeah.
So I think we just got to kind of figure out what we're going to do with our roster. I don't think Asar is away from being on a chopping block. I think he definitely could get traded. If I look up in a year or two, can he be an all NBA defense? For sure. Can he put up 12 and 5, 12 and 7? Probably. But I just think for the sake of waiting around for that to happen, we could probably get some new juice in here and make a difference. So
For sure.
that's kind of those are the two players that kind of rolled of the dice, but I feel pretty confident that they kind of jump off the screen a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, and I didn't want just to dive in on him here for a hot second. And there's one thing you gotta like with Cody Williams, if anything, is like he got a brother playing at a high level in the league right now. So it's like he's already feel like he's gonna have an advantage to an extent from like just knowing somebody going that's been through the process, been deep into the playoffs, got a couple of years under his belt. So I think that's got that going for him. And yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's gonna be one of the things where it's a project, and you hope that the project just, comes through from like a work ethic standpoint and like hits that ceiling. And yeah, Holland, I mean, I've seen scouting report looks good on him, athleticism. The Ringer said he got that dog in him, just like every other player does this day and age. But they didn't really have much. They're kind of like they have similar type profiles. I think Holland seems to be a little more polished on offense.
Yeah,
And so I'm kind of like, looking at them. I mean, they similar in height, weight,
exactly.
wingspan. So yeah, both like you said, projects that you know we'll be opposed to taking a flyer on either of those guys.
And,
But
and I agree with you real quick. I think Cody Williams is probably better on offense, and Ron Holland is better on or vice versa.
Vice
Cody
versa. Yeah,
is
I
better
got
on
you.
defense, and Ron Holland's better on offense. So I think
Mm-hmm.
you know you probably would lean towards the better offensive guy because we have some guys that can't side of a backboard but can defend.
Yeah,
And then just what's your boy's name? You just said the UConn boy. Damn, I'm blanking on
clinging.
Klingon. I
Yep.
think somebody like him. I agree with you on we could use him, but I think then do we really think we're about to get Nick Claxton? If we're getting Nick Claxton, we can probably hold off on him.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think how confident are we in some of these free agent moves? How confident are we in being able to get Brandon Ingram? I mean,
Yeah.
if we
Right.
know we got Brandon Ingram coming, we got Nick Claxton coming, we can treat this draft a little different. Versus if we don't wait, it's a maybe he'll answer
Yeah.
when we call when free agent starts, maybe he won't. Then we got to treat this a little differently as far as we need some proven talent. But if we know we got an all-star coming in and a
Yeah.
guy walking double-double, I think we can operate it slightly different.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think the thing that kind of sucks is like the free agency don't start until like July 6th and the draft is next week. But
Yeah,
a
it's hard.
lot of this, there might be a lot of these trades like Baron Domingo that might just drop at 2 a.m. tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like some of I think because I think he's restricted, so we might have to trade for him. But like, Claxton, that's kind of up in the air unless he's kind of in the same boat. But yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, hearing about some of these guys, everybody's kind of saying it might be not be as strong as a draft. I would like these four players. I think I'd be happy with any of them. Did you want to throw out a guy in the second round here, real quick?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not as versed on the second round here. Let me see
Okay,
though. I have a list of folks.
I'll grab somebody while you
Okay.
because I got one guy I know off the top of the head. His name is Harrison Ingram. Played for your Tar Heels this past year.
Yep.
He I watched him play probably like 5, 6 times this year. Um, he can shoot the ball. And I think that's something we need to target in that second round. A shooter, somebody can, shoot the three. He shot it 71% from three against MSU in attorney. 50% from three in a game against Wagner, 33% from against Alabama, 12, 8, and 2, 6'5, 240. So he's like a, kind of opposite of Cody Williams around Holland. He's got a little bit more like size to him and can still, do what they can, probably a little bit higher level just from like a scoring standpoint.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I watched a little bit of Carolina this year. It's funny you say that because where's the Bangkok on? You feel like he might be later second round somewhere.
Yeah, I
But
didn't see Baycott on a couple. Yeah, but I forgot about
yeah.
him.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if he'd be available, but let's say what's the big boy from NC State?
Oh, DJ Burns? Yeah.
DJ Burns.
I ain't mad at
Let's
it. He's
let
like,
let's let it
it'd be
fly.
like instant offense off the bench. I mean, I can see him being, coming in. Like, I think he's a little bit better offensively than like Isaiah Stewart. You
Hmm.
know, we get off of him, maybe get Burns,
Yeah,
10 and
Burns
6
and
off the bench.
I real confident. I mean, I think we got the 54th pick, so if he's available, I think if nothing else, he can beat the shit out of some people. He can
Right.
be what's my man's name
Lost
that went
40
viral a
pounds
couple
since
summers
attorney.
ago? Lincoln. What's the dude? He went viral for bodying up Chet in the summer league. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
Lofton.
Lofton.
Kenneth
Yeah,
Lofton. Yeah,
that could be our Kenneth Lofton. But
for
no, and if
sure.
not him, we got to throw a wrench in the whole thing and get Bronny. But
Come on, Brian.
come on, Brandon Ingram, Nick Claxton, we back. We back. No, you got anything else for the people?